Hello and welcome back to another Space Engineers showcase video. In today's video, I'm once again taking a look at one of your designs that you have linked me in the comments section of one of my videos. And as per usual, since YouTube is still deleting all the links, just leave me the name of the workshop item and I'll go and find it and download it. But for today, we are looking at another combat rover with everything you need to survive in survival mode. This is the Argentavis Hero Edition, which is this glorious thing right here. So this is a lovely bright pink rover that features a nice amount of firepower on here and a fairly large interior with assemblies, with refineries, and even a living quarters for you to live your life in. Now of course, if bright pink isn't your thing, there are other colours to choose from and the creator has done a lovely job at setting them up. So turning around over to here, we then got a desert version. We then have a police version, and then a camo version over here. So you got some nice choices if that's not what you want and you don't want to recolor it yourself. Coming back over to the bright pink one called the Hero Edition, and pressing F10 and finding the Argentavis, there it is. This thing is 1,108 large blocks using pretty much all the DLC packs. So we've got our Wasteland, Frostbite, Decorative Block number 1 and number 2, our Heavy Industry, Warfare 1, and Sparks of the Future DLC packs. It uses no mods, but it does have a couple of scripts on here, which is listed at the top of the workshop page, which is the Inventory Manager, Automatic LCD screens, and the Driver Assist Systems. And as you can see on the side there, we've got our other versions, so there's our Military Brown, there's our Camo Green, and there is our Police Edition. So we'll give each of these a little thumbs up like so. And then we'll move all the way around to the very front. We'll have a quick look around the outside, then a quick look at the interior, then we'll drive it around for a bit, and then we'll end it with a lovely crash. So putting on my light and coming all the way down to here, at the very front, this is what we get. We can see our lovely bridge to drive this thing around with our control seat sitting right there. Just above that, and on this black strip, we got ourselves one of a few rocket launchers for manual firepower. This is great for assaulting bases once your turrets have dealt with their defenses. You can now roll up to it and start blasting. But yes, on the left and right hand side, we can see some spotlights to light up the darkness. And then dropping right below here, we can see our 3 other rocket launchers to do some nice damage with. If you were to start to move around the side here, we're going to see a continuation of our colour design in our white, black and pink. We've got our Wasteland wheels in their lovely pink colouring, which does look rather fancy actually, with how it's all been done. Yes, on this side, coming closer to the main body, we can see some hydrogen thrusters help push us around, and a gatling turret for some more defense at the back of this vehicle. If we were to come all the way around to the very back, we'll see a couple of hydrogen thrusters down below here to give us a nice boost while going uphill. And then at the very back, this is what we get. So in the middle, we got ourselves a connector which is attached onto a piston that at the click of a button we can deploy all the way out and then connect up to a base. We also have a secondary option of making this into a ejector where it will automatically extend out and throw out anything you don't need. As for the interior lights on the back here, this is part of our Driver Assist System script, where if you want to turn left and right, the left and right white lights will then blink with the corresponding direction you are turning, with these red lights being our reverse light where they will activate along with a sound block when we start to move backwards. And if we were to start to move around onto this side, we do have a slight difference where we've got our way to get in and out. So over to this section, we've got ourselves a catwalk that leads over to a doorway. Just attached onto that, a hinge and a ladder. This has all been set up on a sensor block, so when we were to walk up to it, the sensor will activate, the ladder will deploy all the way around to allow you to grab hold of it, then climb all the way up and above to the doorway. We'll take a look at that a bit later. Returning all the way around to the very back and looking at the bottom of this thing, past our hydrogen thrusters, we then see our rocket launchers at the bottom there, a camera and a sound block. Then moving towards the front there, an artificial mass, a couple more hydrogen thrusters, another sensor block which is for the ladder to activate. Then moving towards the very front there, another camera. And there's our little bridge where we can peer inside to our control seat, and of course a small little living area. If you were to look down at this from the very top, we're going to see some blinking red and blue lights at the front there, a couple of glorious pink Gatling guns at the top. Then moving towards the main body, we then got some collectors in the middle here for a small ship to fly over and drop off anything it's collected, which is a very novel thing at topping this thing up with any kind of resources you're missing, or maybe just to refill up your hydrogen tanks because you're running low. Towards the back of that, we've got a few window blocks where you can peer inside at our sorters, which is going to be for our connector at the back there. So we can see one side is turned off, one side is turned on. And taking a sneaky look inside here, we then got our air vent to suck in any kind of oxygen. And moving all the way around into this section, we then got a projector block to project the entire model, make sure we can repair this up all nice and proper. But that is a very brief look around the outside of the Argentavis Hero Edition. It does kind of sadly remind me of my Argentavis in Ark, my glorious pink and purple bird, which I unfortunately neglected while near a volcano. But anyway, grabbing hold of my character and walking over to the side which has the ladder, what we're going to hear is a little diddly did, and the ladder will start to deploy. So it's going to be over on this side. There we go. Now the ladder is going to start to move all the way around. We can then just jump. Now we can grab hold of this and climb all the way up and get on inside. So up we come, past our hinge block, and to the top. There we go. Now walking up to this doorway, it's going to automatically open up thanks to a sensor, and now we're on the inside. Looking immediately to our right, we then got an oxygen tank, so we can open it up and grab out any bottles if we need to, and of course we can see how much oxygen is remaining thanks to these 4 little dots. Turning around and continuing along through our little passageway, we've got another doorway that will open up by itself. We're instantly greeted by a couple of armory lockers. Turning around to this side, we then got a shower block. Then turning on to the opposite side, we then got our toilet block. So that's a nice little setup like so. You can go to the toilet, then get changed, grab your gear, grab your gun, then head on outside. Walking all the way around into this room right here, this is our main control room. We've got a little desk here to have a little discussion of your plan of action, or maybe have a little snack on. Looking around the rest of the room, everything has been clearly labelled and ready to go. So all of our cargo containers have been set up thanks to our inventory management script. So this one is our weapon and tools. We've got our ammo, we've got our bottles, and up and above there we've got our components to put stuff in. Now that's very handy because if you were to put something in the wrong container, after a short delay, it's going to get pulled out of that and shoved into the correct container. So coming back into here, it is now missing. Coming over to our weapons and tools, there it is. Coming out of that and turning towards the front, we've got a bunch of LCD screens with all our scripts on here. So we can see our driving assist script on this side, where it tells us everything about this vehicle. Coming over to this one, this is going to be our power in our reactors, our hydrogen engines, our batteries, and our total output and input. Over to this one, this is our ammo storage. Then we've got our ore storage, our ingot storage, and then our component storage. It's a very nice setup with that. Very clearly labelled so you know exactly what is going on with this vehicle. If you were to turn around and come past our little table, we'll come up these steps, and walking all the way up to here, we'll then see our little bed blocks on this side. We got our kitchen block and our bar counter right here so you can cook your food and serve it to your companions, and maybe you can eat it down on the table right there. Yes, coming around over here, we've got a lovely window where we get a fantastic view at our suspensions, so we can see if anything is stuck on it, or if anything needs to be repaired. Very nice little viewing window, and quite handy to see any kind of dangers coming up against you. Turning around to this section, these are our beds that we saw just a second ago, so we can go to sleep on here and get up. Then walking around to this section, we've got another cargo container, which is once again going to be for our components. Walking up these steps and then turning around over to this, we've then got all of our batteries that line up the side. We can see a few gyroscopes in the distance there, along with an internal antenna, which you don't really see that often. Yes, we'll come along these catwalks first of all, and then we'll take a quick look down there. We can see on our left hand side another LCD screen telling us our auto crafting. We see a ore detector, so we can go around and scout any ore patches if we need to. Walking around, we then got all of our programmable blocks for our scripts. So we've got our inventory manager, we then got our automatic LCD screens, and then there is our driving assist systems. Turning around, even more cargo containers which have been clearly labelled once again. So there's our ingots, and there's our ores. And over to here, we've got a survival kit to respawn on and recharge itself, and another LCD screen telling us if there's any problems detected with the inventory manager. Turning around and coming back over to where our antenna was sitting, we can sort of squeeze past our railings and drop all the way down to here, where we see all of our hydrogen tanks with oxygen tanks, our gyroscopes, remote control blocks, our hydrogen engines, and basically everything we need to survive in survival mode. Yes, we just turn around, drop all the way down to here. We got our refinery on the side there, a lovely little sense block which has been set up to open and close the doors around the ship. That is pretty much it for what we can see inside here. So just squeezing all the way back up to where I just was, around here, down the steps, past our little cooking area, and down to our little table and driving area. I think I've covered just about everything on the inside of this vehicle, so now it's time to get into our seats and see what this thing can do. So just looking around to here, this is the view we get out the front there. So we've got a nice view at what's coming up against us, and then looking down at our LCD screens, we can see then our rocket launchers, our front turrets, we can see our acceleration speed, oxygen and hydrogen tanks, our gravity, and then what's turned on and what's turned off. Bring up the HUD, this is what we get for our controls. Number one is going to be for our rocket launchers to fire all four of them together, straight forwards, like so. And there's a little lag spike when I hit the ground. Number two is a enemy detection timer block. So if you're driving around and you see a threat coming towards you, you can press that. That'll start up our red and blue blinking lights, as well as activate a sound block with the enemy detected sound. Yes, we can just turn it off for the moment. Number three is a time block, which is going to be for our spotlights at the front there to toggle them on and off. And 4, 5, 6 and 7 is going to be for manual control over our Gatling guns. So we can just grab this, turn that all the way down and start blasting other stuff around us, and whatever you want to do. Number 8 is a programmable block, and this is for our driving assist system. So this is going to be how we're going to use our lights at the back there. So if it was to turn left, the white light on the side there will start blinking, and I'll just make this nighttime so it's a bit easier to see. So coming across over to here and changing it to nighttime, there we go. If I was to turn left once again, you can see now that we're blinking left, blinking right. And if I was to undo the parking brake and then start reversing, there we go, we now get a sound, and our red lights should start blinking. Number 9 is for our hydrogen thrusters around this ship, and this will turn off all of them except for the ones facing upwards, because they're going to be used to stabilize this vehicle if you were to do a jump. Coming to tab number 2, we then got everything to do with survival mode, which is going to be our ore detector, our refineries, assemblies, O2H2 generators, and hydrogen engines. We then got controls for our hinge, which is going to be for the one on the side there to manually toggle that all the way in. We then got number 7, which is going to be for our connector at the back there to deploy it all the way out. And then number 8, of course, will be to lock and unlock that connector. If we were to retract that all the way back in and press number 9, this is our ejector system. But this will change our sorters at the top there, so just looking at it down like so with a free camera and pressing number 9, we'll see that they flip over because this is going to eject out everything we don't need onto the floor out of this connector. So there we are, we can now just retract that all the way back and it goes back to its normal usage. Switching to tab number 3, then got even more controls, with number 1 being our oxygen tank on and off, number 2 being for our hydrogen tanks on and off, and yes, I am aware that I just got those mixed up. Number 3, number 4 is for our air vents to toggle them on and off. Number 5 for our antenna on and off. Number 6 for our interior lights on and off around the vehicle. Number 7 for our projector on and off for a quick little repair. Number 8 and number 9 is then for our reactors and batteries. Tab number 4, 5 and 6 is empty. So now what we can do is drive this thing around. So driving this thing around, this is what we get. We are quite slow and we are very heavy, but it does suit this type of vehicle. We are a survival exploration rover, so we are going to be carrying quite a lot of stuff to make sure we can survive, and of course repair stuff up and build other stuff while on our adventure. As you can see, while we're driving around here, we seem to cap out at about 34 meters per second, which is perfectly fine and safe for a large rover. So what we can do right now is of course start to turn all the way around to see our turning circle, which is generally what you'd expect. It's fairly tight for a large vehicle, and it doesn't seem to have any problems with, like, say, flipping over. It's very firmly on the ground. And here we go, we're now falling from orbit, because unfortunately this thing is extremely stable while it jumps over cliffs, and, well, it just didn't seem to want to die. So now we're going to slam it face first into the planet, and hopefully that'll deal a nice lot of damage. So there'll be a link to this in the description below if you do wish to download and play around with it yourself. I highly recommend you do, because it is a fantastic rover if you are looking for something to use in survival mode. And here we go. That was a nice lot of damage, but it looks like we only just damaged the front. And this is the problem I've been having with this rover. It just doesn't want to die. But anyway, yes, as I was saying, there'll be a link to it in the description below if you do wish to download and play around with it yourself. And of course, there will be links to the other colours if you don't want to have the bright pink one. But yes, that is it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll be back with another one some point soon. Bye bye.